My name is Joseph Miranda, broker and owner of Miranda Executive Realty. Thank you all for coming in here again today, our latest installment of our Ask the Broker session. These are held second and fourth Tuesdays of every month, so very excited to begin talking about this one here. Before we get started, as usual, we're going to do our shameless plug for anybody that is not a Miranda Executive agent. If you'd like to learn more, see what we can do for you, please scan the QR code. Just reach out to us and we'll be happy to schedule a confidential meeting with you. All of this being said, let's save our questions for the end. We will do a question and answers segment at the end. This training, again, is really just kind of an overview of things to consider when when you're thinking about starting a team. It's somewhat comprehensive, but we're not going to dive deep into anything specific here. But if you do have questions about any of these areas, we'll be happy to answer them at the end to the best of our ability. Or yes, you can type them in the messages there to the side. One quick disclaimer, I am the broker and owner of Miranda Executive Realty, and that is where my specialty or designations end. I am not an attorney. I am not an accountant. I don't hold any license besides the real estate license. So, any legal or financial advice, please speak with your attorney, accountant, or other designated individual prior to doing anything there. So let's go ahead and jump into it here. We're going to talk today about building a real estate team, the Miranda Executive Realty Way. Primarily, it's going to be just things to consider. What do you need to think about before you start a real estate team? Where does kind of your mind need to go? I know for myself, everything that I do, or everything that I want to do, just like everybody else, I assume it begins with an idea. You have to have an idea, and the idea may be the big, the big overarching idea, and then over time, as we ponder the idea, as we think about the idea, we begin to figure out how to implement the idea. So if you have the idea that, okay, yeah, you know what, someday I would like to have a real estate team, then you are in the right place. We're going to give you the things to think about. We're going to cover a few basic areas in this training. We're going to cover support. You're going to have some sort of support system for your agents. We're going to cover the finances to make sure that, financially you are prepared, because there will be an investment. In fact, in the beginning, it will probably cut into your own finances, and we'll get to the reasons why. The leadership responsibilities, which are not the same as support, right? Being a supportive person is not the same as being the leader. So, as a team leader, you will probably need to be both, especially in the beginning. Do you have a value proposition, and do you actually want to help your agents grow, right? Do you have a heart, basically the heart of a teacher, right? The heart of a mentor. Do you want to be that person for them? So, number one, do you have enough business? How do you know if you have enough business? And really, it's going to be different for everybody. It's going to be, some people have a higher need to make more income and more money, and some just don't have it so much. Some individuals in real estate sell higher end, higher priced real estate, as opposed to, other individuals sell, a lot of the lower end, and maybe they just do quantity over, the actual sales price increase. So, you have to figure out, do you have enough business? A few different coaching companies have come out with what they call the real estate sales tiers. And this is a really good place to think about your business. So there's 7 tiers in real estate sales. And it goes all the way from 0 to 25 units up to 1,000 plus units. Most people in the beginning of their career, and this is annually, right? Most people in the beginning of their career are going to start at the 0 to 25 units annually. Some people never really surpass that. Not because it's not possible, but maybe they don't want to. Maybe they don't want to work that hard. Maybe they just can't figure it out. There's a whole plethora of reasons. What I will say is this: if you're in tier one, if you're selling 25 units or less per year, you may not be ready to start a team. You may need to still prepare yourself, right? You may want to continue working on your own business, because 25 units per year really equates to just over 2 per month. So 2 transactions per month. I think it's difficult to say that you have transactions to spare when you're selling just over 2 units per month. Tier 2, 26 units to 75 units. This is where I believe you can begin thinking about starting a team. When you in the year that you sell 26 units, you still may not quite be ready. But once you get into 40, 50, 60 units per year, that may be a time where you would want to start thinking about starting a team. I know that there's agents, they talk about, they do 60, 70, 80 transactions per year and they don't have a team. Personally, I don't know if I would want to work that hard, right? You would at least need an admin once you get to a certain level. If you're doing 3 or 4 or more transactions per month, it's going to be very hard to sustain that without at least having an admin. But bottom line, if you're 0 to 25 units per year, a team may not be the best idea, because you need to have enough business to give to your team member, and you want it to affect your income as little as possible. So if you're doing 25 units and you give 10 of those units to the member on your team, now you yourself have only got 15, yet your income or your expenses have not necessarily changed in correlation to your lower income. So, that's got to be a serious consideration. 26 to 75, you can start thinking about it. 75 to 150, this is where business starts to get really exciting. This is where the big changes start to come. This is where you could have a really, sizable team you can start building on your team, right? I think beyond that, you definitely need to have a team, because to do these as an individual agent, that's just a heck of a lot of transactions. That's a lot of showing. That's a lot of coordinating, for any one individual. So the next thing to consider is are your financials. You have to be financially prepared to be able to financially manage a real estate team, right? The number one rule that I have in real estate is, at any given time, you should always have 6 months minimum of reserves in your bank account, because real estate is very cyclical. Real estate can have, high highs, and it can have some very low lows, and we're not always ready, or we're not always prepared for the market to shift in a downward direction. And if we're caught off guard and we haven't been doing the right things for the previous months, and the market begins to take a decline, that can affect us very seriously and very quickly. So, you need, how do you avoid that cycle? You save. You always need to have 6 months to 1 year in reserves. And this is for you just to survive, right? To maintain what you're doing, and then, to be able to actually survive, to pay your mortgage, put food on your table, do all of these things, right? So 6 months to a year. The other thing to consider is the CRM. We do offer one here, Miranda Executive Realty. Most agents have it. So you can manage your leads and you can manage things within there. We do have a team structure in our CRM where it's almost like a CRM inside a CRM. So for the team leader that has a large team and they want more management features in that, we do have that. Lead sources, again, we have those here in the company. But if you're only giving them company leads, then, we're going to get to, we'll be talking about that. But what is your value proposition, right? Are you only offering them company leads? Hold on one second. My cat is killing me right now. She's trying to come in. By the way, if you've never met my cat, this is my cat. She constantly is trying to get in and out while I'm doing these trainings. So, yeah, you probably didn't hear her, but Yeah, she was going crazy out there. So you'll probably see that door open in a second because she's going to want back out. All right, so CRM, we do have it. Lead sources. Again, you probably want to come up with your own lead sources. In my opinion, right now you can have them work the company lead sources, but again, where's that value proposition? Marketing, our CRM has plenty of marketing opportunities, but there should be some consideration for additional marketing, right? There's going to have to be some, some additional expenses for that. And then administrative expenses. Is there going to be an admin, right? If there's not an admin, you should at least have a transaction coordinator, right? So leadership responsibilities. Are you ready to lead? What are the things that go into leading a real estate team, right? Number one, you've got to have your expectations, right? And again, this is 30,000-foot view of what you need to do, but set the expectations from the beginning, right? Do you have expectations for production? Do you have regular meetings? Are you going to have them daily? Are you going to have them weekly? Do they have to attend those? Are there daily actions that they need to do, right? So as a broker myself, I cannot mandate that any agent in the office do anything ever, because real estate agents in a real estate office, generally speaking, are independent contractors. So I can't say we're doing, the weekly sales meeting, you must be there. Or we're doing this training over here, you must be there. But as a team leader with an agent on your team, it's different, right? You can't mandate it. And if they don't meet those expectations of whatever they are, then you can remove them from the team, right? So, it's a little bit different. So figure out, what are the expectations that I have for an agent that would be on my team? What are the things that this agent would need to do to ensure that they are a successful member on my team, right? So number two, roles and responsibilities. Number one, are you a listing agent? Are they a buyer's agent? Are they going to work with your renters? Are they a showing agent? There's all types of different roles, positions that would be in a real estate team. So the first agent that you bring in, what type of agent are they, right? What type of support are you offering that agent? You need to set clear expectations for number three on what they can expect to receive in return, right? What type of split? If you're giving them all the leads, you're giving them the support, you're paying for everything. In my opinion, a team leader should pay for everything. Now, again, there's probably a million different ways that teams are operated, but to be like a legitimate team leader, you have to have that value proposition. So in exchange for this, here's what this is going to cost you, right? Performance benchmarks, they have to have a plan. Again, going all the way back to number one, you have to give them, they have to have targets. Not only targets for attending meetings and doing these actions, but you need to figure out what numbers they're going to hit. I talk a lot about KPIs, the key performance indicators. It's going to be a lot of that, but really, it's going to end with, how many closings are you having, right? Because if you're investing your money into an individual or into a system or into, really this team, then there needs to be a return on that investment, right? And then you need to think about your structure. How are you structuring your team? What's your hierarchy? What is the hierarchy of your team, right? So, and once you get the hierarchy of your team, and this is something that really, all of these things, you need to think of them ahead of time. These are areas that you need to plan, right? Again, weekly meetings, what's the first agent, second agent, third agent? What are their jobs? What are you offering them? What do they need to do in return to earn whatever it is that you're offering them? And then how are you going to support them through that? Right? How are you helping them through all of these things. For example, as a team leader, are you going to be shadowing with the agents on your team? Because they need to meet your standards, right? What is your standard? Well, how do they know how to interact with a buyer or a seller if the team leader never goes with them? Are they going with you on your appointments? Right? Are you taking an active interest or an active role in the success of their, of themselves, right? So, all right. So moving on to, who should you hire? So there's a lot of debate, maybe not a lot, of who your first hire should be. A lot of the coaches in real estate, they say your first hire should be your admin. I do agree that the first hire should be an admin. I will tell you, for myself specifically, I went through a few admins before I got to the right admin. And I actually, in between having an admin, I have brought an agent in, and me and that agent just kind of ran the team for a while with a transaction coordinator, right? So, but if you don't have an admin as a team leader, just know that you are the admin. As the team leader, if that role does not exist in your structure, then you wear that hat. That is who you are, right? So in my opinion, the first hire that you should get is an admin, but this is also why you might not want to think about hiring or about starting a team until you're selling 26 plus units per year, right? When you're 0 to 25, you may not be able to afford an admin, right? But once you get to 26 plus per year, you should be able to afford it, and the right admin will grow your business. There's a saying, right? Hire slow and fire fast. When you start to get that feeling about somebody, it's probably time to part ways, right? So your first hire doesn't need to be your last hire. You can always let people go. They'll quit. You'll see, right? People will come and people will go. So, we have to have that same mindset as team leaders that, if it's not the right person for the job, then, we have to be strong enough to understand and realize that. And, sometimes we're doing that person a favor as well, because maybe they're not happy in that role either, right? So think about it. Your first hire might be a transaction coordinator. We have one in the office. Maybe, you just assist your team agent in learning how to collect the transaction fee. Maybe when they can't, then you assist in paying for the transaction coordinator fee, whatever it is. But, there needs to be a thought in that. So the next thing is you need an agent who aligns with your vision and your work ethic. This is very, very important. Vision is a very important thing when building a team, because you need to be able to give this vision to your agent. You need to be able to tell the agent, here's what we're trying to do, right? Here's where we are right now, and here's where we're going. If you can't see it, then you may never be able to achieve it. You have to be able to see, the agent has to be able to see your vision for the team. What is your vision, right? What are you trying to do, right? And your work ethic. If you hire an agent that doesn't work as hard as you, you're going to be annoyed. If you hire an agent that works harder than you, they might be annoyed, right? There should be some alignment there in the work ethic. It doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, maybe, you have an agent that wants to work weekends and you don't want to work weekends. That's okay. That can be worked out. That can be figured out. But, I think a lot of people want to build a team and they want to just dump everything on the other agent and then not do anything. It's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. Not unless you're throwing a lot of money at it. And if you're building a team, there's probably not a lot of money to throw at, doing these things. Again, if the position doesn't exist in the team structure, then it falls on the team leader to be that position, right? A mix of experience levels. So, new agents are great. We love new agents, but you do not want a team full of new agents. A new agent can be very time consuming. They can take a lot of effort, they take a lot of mentoring, a lot of training. There's a lot that goes into developing a new agent. On the flip side of that, when you have a new agent, you can teach them how to do things your way, which should be the right way. So, because if you get an agent that has a lot of experience, sold a good amount of homes, they may have their own way of doing things, but it might not be your way. In fact, they may do things the wrong way. So, if you have a diversity of agents, new to experienced, then you're going to have a nice balance of agents on your team, right? So, experienced agents will be looking to join a team. I know a lot of people probably think an experienced agent wouldn't be looking to join a team, but, don't assume anybody's motives for things, because there are reasons why experienced agents want to come onto a team. And then just keep in mind, what is your marketing support, right? What's your additional lead generation, right? You're going to need some sort of marketing support. You might want to have your own team, social media. So you're going to need somebody that's going to manage that social media for you, right? So how do we compensate our team members? What are we looking at for our team members? So the compensation levels, they can vary from team to team. I've spoken to some agents that are on a team, and they've told me what they received for their split, and I'm just like, whoa, you're crazy for giving that much for not receiving very much value at all, right? There's some agents that are team leaders that just don't worry about giving value, but if you're going to have a value proposition, if you're adding value to that team member, putting money in their bank account, then that also needs to reciprocate and come back to you, right? As the team leader, mentoring, teaching, coaching, just helping through all of these things, there's value to that your agent should have a higher conversion rate because you are the team leader, right? So think about that. It should be based on what you're offering to the agent. If you offer nothing and you just want to give leads to somebody because you have way too many leads, right? It could be maybe more like a referral fee type of split, right? Where, okay, you just pay me, whatever, right? If it's going to be, if you're looking at different levels of agents, do they all want to come in under the same split? Maybe they're okay with that. Maybe they're not, right? You need to consider that. An agent that's experienced and bringing a lot of business, are they going to want to be in the same split? Do you maybe want to have a tiered system based on production, right? There's a lot of different ways. Just these are things that need to be considered. So in red, the one thing that I caution, the one thing that a lot of agents ask when joining a team is they say, is there a different split if I bring the lead? And what I would caution against doing that. You can do it if you want. You say, okay, yeah, if I give you the lead, it's going to be this much. And if you bring your own lead, it's going to be this much. A lot of times what ends up happening is the agent will have maybe more leads than they can handle, or they'll begin to get to that stress point where it's almost more leads than they can handle. And then what they start doing is they start working their own leads harder than your leads, and your leads kind of go by the wayside because they're going to get a higher split on their leads compared to what they get on your leads. So again, there's no rule for how you're going to compensate the agents on your team, but just make sure that it makes sense and make sure that it's in alignment with the vision that you have for the team, right? You don't want to underpay your team. You don't want to overpay your team. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to do things that inadvertently lead to a negative consequence for yourself or for your team. A lot of consideration needs to go into the commissions or into the compensation for the other agents. And maybe it's a learning process. Maybe it's something that, over time you'll figure it out, right? So, but your split should be in line with your value proposition. What are you giving them, right? So, and there's things besides just them making money that's part of your value proposition. You need to have a value proposition, and you need to think about, because why is somebody going to come in and work under you? What do you have to offer them that they can't do on their own? What can you give this agent on your team that they can't get just by being in a brokerage? Because if I know, like this brokerage, we give a lot. We do trainings, we record the trainings, we give a CRM, we give leads, we have mentoring, we're there for the agents. So, if you bring an agent in and they're going to work underneath you, what do you offer them, right? I'd say the number one thing that can be offered to them, support, having, being that support system for them, training from you specifically, shadowing type things where you're going on appointments with them, they're going on appointments with you. Do you have a strong brand? If you don't, you should build your brand, right? But do you have a strong brand? What about your systems? You can have really, really good systems, and you will need systems. You will need really, really strong systems if you're going to have a team, because the things that you do need to be consistent. You need consistency. The agent on your team needs to know, if I do this, then this will happen, right? Or when my contract gets to this stage, here's what to do next. Or every morning, here's my routine, right? You need systems for everything that comes along with it. Start maybe writing down the different systems that you would need to implement for the team, and let us know. We probably have them in office, in our office documents. We can probably share some systems that that I've used with my team. So but leads are a huge value proposition. Everybody's always talking about leads. In my opinion, the team leader should be providing exclusive leads. Exclusive leads. What is your favorite lead source? You may need to up the budget on that so that you can maintain your level of business, but also be able to give new business to your agent, right? So think about your lead source and then your distribution channel, meaning how are you going to get your lead to the agent? Is it through our CRM? Is it going to be some other way? And then you need to work with the agent on lead conversion. We talk about it all the time. Lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointment, writing contracts, closing the contract. Where's the agent on your team at right now? Because the conversion is in that next step. Lead generation needs to either lead to an appointment or lead follow-up. Lead follow-up needs to lead to an appointment. That appointment needs to lead to a contract, which might need to lead to another contract. You get your buyer agency or listing agreement, you still need the sales contract. When you get that sales contract, you need to close it, right? Those are your conversion cycles. So where's the agent at inside that conversion cycle? You need to be constantly working with agents on your team on the conversion cycle. What do you need to look at? We have a whole bunch of listings, but none of them are going under contract. Probably time to start talking about a price reduction and teach your agents to be strong enough to have that conversation, right? And this is just a few example of lead sources that you can have. Obviously, there's a lot more. There's a lot more lead sources out there. Choose your favorite. That you should have multiple lead sources. Once you kind of master one lead source, you should definitely be working on and begin implementing to master a second lead source. because the more lead sources you have, the more leads you're going to receive, right? And then the more leads you receive, the more possibility you have to getting it through that conversion cycle and getting it closed. You're going to have to be patient with a new agent because, you know, there's a lot that they need to learn, and you're going to spend a lot of time with them. But if you do a good job and you build strong systems, you know, sooner or later, they can just kind of go through this process quickly, and hopefully someday they'll give back and they'll be willing to take an agent through that, right? This is what we have, like the heart of a mentor. You as the team leader need to have the heart of a mentor, the heart of a teacher. If you don't want to teach the agent what you know, how to do things, how to, you know, get through the conversion cycle, then what's the point, right? Because you're going to say, here's a lead, go do it. Oh, but what do I do about this? I don't know, figure it out. They're not going to stay with you. An agent is going to need to feel like they're growing in order to stay with you. And maybe someday they'll outgrow you and they'll start their own team, or, you know, they'll split or whatever. That's fine, right? Be prepared for that. But, you know, you can't not teach somebody because someday they might leave. You need to have these agents working to your standards, right? And this is why you need to have constant communication with the agent. I would recommend a meeting every day. In the morning, get together with your team, go over what's going on, what do you have today, do any type of coaching or training or mentoring right there. Try to get in front of all the problems. Everybody's going to have their list of what they, you know, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, right? Now they got their marching orders. Then you're going to have your routine. You're going to say, okay, here's your marching orders. But before that, you know, everybody needs to dial, you know, call, I don't know, however many hours or make however many contacts. Set so many appointments. Should be multiple appointments being set, right? What's their numbers? If they're dialing and never getting a conversion, then there needs to be a conversation to help figure out, why are you not converting? Right? What's going on? Why, you know, why are you having all of these calls and you're not converting? Because there's something there, right? Now, if all of this sounds like a lot or too much, that's okay, right? I will tell you, if you're in that 0 to 25 point, this is probably too much. It's too much time with what's going to be not enough return. And this, you know, this is something that needs to be taken very, very seriously. Sometimes you don't need a team. Sometimes you just need an admin. 0 to 25, you probably just need a TC. Because if you don't have 6 months set aside in your savings account, you don't want to go out and hire, and then you have a couple of bad months, and then you have to let them go because you can't continue to pay their salary. That's not fair to them. And it's not fair to you because you're going to spend a lot of time training this person. So make sure you have some reserves before you even think about hiring an admin, right? In the meantime, everybody should be using a transaction coordinator. Why? Because our job as real estate agents is not to do paperwork. Our job is to sell homes. The legal side of a contract, you know, the contract enforcement, you know, let the attorney, let the title company handle that. Managing timelines, you know, following up on appointments, let a transaction coordinator do that. Right? So a lot of times that's all you need. Once you start selling 26 plus, you know, you start getting into, you know, especially if you're selling 3 to 4 plus homes per month, that's when you really need to consider bringing on a team. In my opinion, again, there's no rule for this, but when you start feeling stressed about all of the leads that you're dealing with, because what's going to happen is you're going to fall into that rich poor cycle of real estate where you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, right? Business is kind of slow. So, you know, you're calling people, you're following up, you're going on appointments, you're writing contracts, and then eventually you're going to have so many contracts that you're too busy to do the things that you were doing before, right? The calling people, following up, going on appointments side of it. So that part starts to dry up. Meanwhile, you feel fine because you've got a bunch of pending contracts. You're having a few closings here and there. But then once those start closing, you start to feel like, wait, where'd my business go? Right? Because you get so caught up in the paperwork and the day-to-day part of the contract. Hand that to a TC. Eventually hand it to an admin. Maybe your admin is your first TC. I don't know. Maybe you have a separate admin and a separate TC. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. If you hire an admin, make sure you have a job description. Every position that you hire should have a job description. And don't hover, don't micromanage, right? Tell them what they need to do, but that's it, right? Don't say you're a team if you're not a team. I've seen individual agents just themselves working by themselves, and they say they're a team, but they're not a team, right? And also know the difference between a joint venture and a team. Now, two agents in the same brokerage or even in different brokerages can collaborate and create what's called a joint venture. So two agents like in this office could say, hey, do you want to join me, right? Jack Smith and Judy Jones can come together and they can say, why don't we work together and split the cost of marketing and let's go farm this neighborhood. That may not necessarily be a team because all you do is you split the cost and then you split the profit that comes out of this farming venture, right? And maybe everything else you say, well, we're going to keep all of this separate. If I bring in, past client referral business, it's going to be mine. If I bring in, leads that are coming from my own lead source or from my own dialing, my own prospecting, those are going to be separate, right? This is an alternative to a team, but it's something that can build collaboration, right? And then maybe down the road later on, you do become a team. You say, why don't we take this a step further? Now that we know that we can work well together, why don't we take this a step further? The John and Judy team, or whatever name you want to call it, doesn't matter to me, right? But just know that two agents collaborating on these is not a team. It's a joint venture, and that's totally fine. I encourage a joint venture. I think a joint venture, two heads are going to be stronger than one. Two people that are working together can probably do more faster, more effectively than two people that are working separately. Two people are going to have complementary strengths and weaknesses where, one agent may not be real good at the administrative side, but they could be really good at the negotiating side, or vice versa, whatever it is. Some agents just hate paperwork and administrative and all of that, and some agents love it. So there's a lot of room to do a joint venture. If there's an agent in the office that you say, why don't we get together regularly on this? Now it's got to be the same thing. There's got to be some expectation. Got to be, you have to talk about money. You have to say, when this happens, here's how we're going to split it. And you have to also have a conversation of, look, if this doesn't work out, that's okay. We're just going to walk away from this, and that's okay. What I will say is always be professional. Whether, you feel that it ended on a good note or a bad note, always be professional. Don't speak poorly about the person. Don't get into the drama. Just be willing to walk away and say that's something that I tried and it didn't work out, and I'm just going to be done. Even if the other person's not professional, we're always going to take the high road. It will always serve you in your career if you can take the high road. So joint venture versus team. A team does have a hierarchy. There's a team leader, and that's the person that everybody else is going to be underneath that team leader. And there could be leaders under that leader. You can build it however you want, whatever way you want, but just understand that, not everything is considered a team. Is an agent with a TC considered a team? I don't know. I wouldn't say it is, but I'm sure agents say that. The only thing I would say is, please, if there's nobody else under your authority, please don't call yourself a team. Agents do that, and it drives me crazy, and I just don't understand it, right? So a couple of do not do's. Don't bring in an agent without a value proposition. I know we keep talking about the value proposition, but what is your value proposition? And then make sure you're ready to lead. Make sure you're prepared. And we talked about what it takes to lead a team, the things to consider on what it's going to take to lead a team. Make sure that you're ready to spend both your time and your money to lead a team. Not something you want to take lightly, because once you agree to lead somebody and somebody agrees to follow you, their outcome is now tied to your outcome, and vice versa. But it does, as the leader, your outcome doesn't matter. They didn't decide to follow you because, they're trying to make, you and everything that you do great or better. They've decided to follow you because you have agreed to make what they're doing better. Not about the team leader, it's about the team. The team leader is really the last person to get served when the team eats, right? Make sure your team is fed. Make sure you're willing to put the time and the money into their success. Make sure you're willing to teach them what they need to know in order for them to be successful. And when they're successful, let's hope that you're successful as a byproduct of their own success. But just know the team has to come first. You need to have a value proposition. There needs to be standards in place. You need to be a leader. If you don't know how to be a leader, go buy some books on how to be a leader. If you need some suggestions on books on how to be a leader, ask me. But you need to be a leader, and you need to be the right type of leader, not a dictatorial type of leader, right? But a servant leader. That is the right type of leadership. Servant leadership is the way to lead. This being said, I am not here to talk you out of starting a team. I really actually hope that this has, at least started the wheels turning for agents in the office to begin thinking about starting a team. I just want it to be a good experience when you finally do. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way of starting a team. I've had, bigger teams, or I've had smaller teams, and I figured out what works for me and what I prefer. And it's going to be the same thing for you, but we can definitely give you guidance. As you can tell, it is a very big commitment, and it takes commitment. You have to make promises to yourself and to the members of your team, and you have to keep those. You have to keep those promises that you make, right? And just make sure that you're ready for it mentally. Make sure you're ready for it with your own time. Make sure you're ready for it with your money, and make sure that you're ready to lead. Again, if you don't really know how to lead, we can help you with that. We are here to help you succeed. If you want to talk more on an individual basis about starting a team, you know that you can always reach us. You can always reach out to myself. Even Irene, she's, worked in the team environment, or Ja. We are here to help you figure out how to grow. And if that growth includes a team, we absolutely 100% support it. If you have an idea and you say, what about this? I've probably done it, and I can say, yeah, that's a great idea. You should definitely do that. Or I've done that, and here's how it worked out for me. Does that mean you're going to have the same outcome as me? No. It doesn't. It just means that you have a different perspective of a different way to look at it. I do think everybody should aspire at some level to be a team leader, or at least to do a joint venture, because we will go farther together. You can go really fast alone, but you're only going to go so far alone. You're going to need somebody sooner or later, as this picture, to help pull you up that mountain. There could be something where, you're lifting each other up, or you're pulling each other up, and you need that other person to get to the next plateau, or, to the next peak, right? So we just want to make sure that you're ready when that time comes. We will continue to do videos on team building. We're going to continue to teach these concepts, and we're going to dig deeper and dive deeper into them. So, again, I do encourage, watch the trainings, attend if you can, because I think this is probably the time that it's most likely that somebody's actually going to attend a training, is right here in the moment. Right later on your own free time, I don't know, depending on how disciplined somebody is, may not be a priority, that they're going to take. So I do encourage that. This being said, I don't know if anybody has any questions, but we can open this up. We have a little bit of time. We're ending a little bit early today, which is great. Does anybody have any questions, or I guess thoughts, or is there anything that we didn't cover that you think we should have covered, or any clarification we can offer?
No questions here, but thank you for going over the process of a team and what it entails, and I mean it is a lot. Because I've considered the team, but after this session, I know that I am definitely not ready yet.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of failure comes in, is when we try to do it before we're ready to do it. And the reason I know that is because I did. I wasn't prepared. The first time I tried to build a team, I failed a few times trying to build a team. Finally I had kind of figured it out, and we had a pretty good sized team. I think at one point the largest team I had was 6 agents. I think it was 6. So, I didn't have a mega team, but I honestly never wanted a mega team, because I felt accountable to ensure that every agent on that team was successful. So until every member was, doing some level of acceptable transactions, I wouldn't add another member to the team. But at one point, yeah, we had 6 agents on the team, and it was going pretty well. And then things change and circumstances change, and whatever, our desires change. But yeah, in the beginning is the hardest part of a team. It's the very beginning stages of it. So you really want to make sure that you're ready for it. But it's something now, Lisa, hopefully now you have a little bit of clarification on the things to consider, and you can start putting pen to paper and figuring it out. Maybe in a year, 2 years, or whatever your time frame would be, maybe at that point you are ready to start a team. Does anybody else have anything? Any thoughts? Any questions? Any considerations? Go ahead, Veronica.
So I, for one, would want to say that I am very happy that I picked your team, Joe, because, as a new agent, it's always kind of very scary. Granted, you want to be able to make mistakes, but I think I felt safe that on your team, you or someone else was always available, so that at the end of the day, my client is not let down. And so I really appreciate that you pass on your knowledge, you share your expertise always, and not once ever have I ever felt like I've bothered you. And I think like any agent that's new, and it is a very rewarding field, that they pick the right mentor. That's very important because so many people give up. I mean, they give their heart and soul into this new career, and you want to pick the best mentor that can set you up for success. And I'm glad that I picked you. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you for those words. And yeah, I that is absolutely our motto and our philosophy here for exactly that reason. Like, we want our agents to succeed, so that's we built a support system around exactly that. So I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate the kind words. It really yeah, it really means a lot. So thank you, like, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for that. Does anybody else have any thoughts, questions, concerns?
No, but I would have to agree with Veronica. You are pretty awesome, Joe. I mean, I'm not a team, I guess, but I guess I kind of am in a different kind of way.
Well, we do manage the office like the team. Like, when we do, even the agents, when we do our meetings with potential agents joining, one of the slides literally says that I manage the office the same way that I manage my team. I am available for the agents in the office. Number one, I mean, agents in this office are a representation of this brand. So we need to know, if this brand is ever going to go anywhere, if we're ever going to achieve anything, we need to have, I really want to have the best trained, most knowledgeable, most helpful, servant-like agents in the industry. And how do I do that? Well, it starts from the top down, right? Culture always starts from the top down. So yeah, I mean, I'm always happy to share what I know. What I tell everybody is, I can at least bring you as far as I've come. I don't know if I can take you beyond where I've come, but I think if an agent can get as far as I've made it, then they can probably make it even farther, right? And if not, we can help you make it farther. But I'm always happy to share it because I think it's really, really important that we're out there doing the right things in the right way for the right reason for everybody. And yeah, so it does mean a lot that we're doing it the right way. It means a lot that that I'm hearing it here, that you're feeling what we want you to feel, because it's never a burden. It's never, I get a lot of times, agents will call me about the same thing 3, 4, 5 times, because it'll be like, they'll call me about the problem. I'll ask them questions and I'll say, okay, go find out this. And then they'll call me again and they'll say, okay, here's what happened. And I'll say, okay, make this phone call, say this, do this, try this. And then they do it and they give me the outcome. And by about the second or third call, every time it's, I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm sorry to bother you. But it's never a bother, because I know that the agent that does that calls me, is doing things the right way. I'm the broker for a reason. It's my job to share my knowledge in a way that causes the agent to be able to go back and do the right thing, number one, for their customer, but also for the transaction, right? It's not, a transaction should not be adversarial. It should not be confrontational. It should be, everybody at the closing table should come together and should be happy. And that's the goal that we want to have. It's a bunch of smiling faces at the closing table, including the other agent. Does it always happen? No, but that is the goal, right? But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, then yeah, our customer needs to be protected. We don't want to lose a deposit or, a property that they wanted to buy. I've had to speak with agents and get them to take their feelings out of the negotiating, because as agents, we tend to take a lot of things personal, like, oh my God, I don't know why this agent's being like this. I don't even want to work with them. I this, I that, right? And then, it's like, well, we can't make this about us. This is about the customer. Tell the customer what they need to know and don't tell them anymore. And let the customer make the decision. Here's the facts. What do you want to do? instead of, oh, this agent's such a, you know, so-and-so and such, and, you know, they're so this and they're so that, and I just hate them. And then you give the fact, but now the customer's like conflicted because, you know, they're like, ooh, you know, how's this going to be? Just take our emotions out of it. It's not our transaction. It doesn't matter, right? Believe me, we've dealt with some of the craziest agents in the world, and our customer has been none the wiser because of it. So thank you guys. Yeah, thank you. It means a lot. Anybody else? Anybody have any thoughts, questions, opinions?
I don't think so.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for everybody that came out. Thank you so much. It does mean a lot. You know, I know that, you know, these trainings aren't always riveting and, you know, compelling, and, you know, there's no theatrical experience, and you know, some people come week after week and they sit here for, you know, an hour long listening to me speak. You know, but I'm hoping that, you know, by coming here and listening to this, that it just, you know, maybe there's one thing that you can implement in your business. Maybe you're not ready for a team. Maybe it's that joint venture. You know, everybody's ready for a joint venture all the time. Anybody can do a joint venture. You know, you just have to have the willingness and the ability to collaborate with another agent. So, you know, but, you know, hopefully by being here in these trainings, you know, you're able to take your real estate career just a little bit farther. Maybe it's one more thing that you didn't know how to do or how to say, or that you could do it, that hopefully you can put into your business, and it helps your business just be a little bit better. So I appreciate everybody that comes out here. It does mean a lot. We'll be here next week where we're going to have it's going to be the roundtable. So hopefully you guys show up for the roundtable. Before we go, one last shameless plug. You know, for agents that are not Miranda Executive Realty agents, if you want to learn more about our company, you can scan the QR code, or you can just message us privately, and we're happy to help you. And keep in mind, guys, we do have the REAP rewards. I think everybody's seen the REAP rewards. So we've already had a few referrals and agents that have joined us. We've also had, we're starting to pay out money now to agents that are referring other agents. So if you know somebody, sharing a training like this, you know, if you're talking to somebody and say, hey, we have a training that, you know, we've done a training on that, let me share it with you. You can share it with them, and, you know, they may come in. So it's just a way, make a little bit of extra money. Again, we don't, if you've had a closing with us, you know, the office does not make a killing on any one transaction. But, you know, over time, you know, a few of the right agents, and it can really turn into some serious money, you know, at the end of the year. So we just want to incentivize that, agents that, you know, that believe in us and are willing to support us. Please keep that in mind. If you know anybody that's stuck or struggling, make the introduction, and, you know, we can see if maybe we can help get them unstuck. So that's it. We'll see you all next week at the roundtable. Please bring your issues. Please bring your victories. Not like real world issues, but real estate issues. Real world issues, I'm not sure if we can help you with. But your real estate issues, we can definitely help you with that. So, you know, bring your victories. If you any good trainings, anything like that, please let us know. We'd love to hear about it. So, otherwise, don't stay stuck yourselves. If you need anything, we'll be in the lobby room. You know, we're in the lobby room 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. Please pop in. You know, if you can't.
Laundry room?
Lobby. Lobby.
Oh, sounded like you said the laundry room.
we can have a laundry room too, where we air out our laundry. Yeah, that's where we just come in and we vent. It's noon, or it's 1 o'clock. I mean, take care of y'all. We'll see you all next week. And in the meantime, don't stay stuck. Let us know.